Welcome back to the IBFP. Here's your host, Boxing News.
Welcome back, fight fans. Welcome back. Let's just dig right into it. This is the IBFP's Boxing News, and we're just going to cover a variety of topics. So let's just dig right into it. And we're going to start with Saul Canelo Alvarez. And according to Lance Pugmire, he basically comes out and states that Sergey Derevyanchenko's camp and the IBF have agreed to a Monday midday Pacific time deadline for Canelo Alvarez to accept the fight with Sergey Derevyanchenko. If he does not accept the fight, the Athletic Box has been told that he'll relinquish the belt and Derevyanchenko move towards title fight talks with Gennady Golovkin. So basically what they're saying is Canelo and, Sergey Derevyanchenko have until Monday to reach a deal. And if they don't reach that deal, then the talks for the IBF belts will go with Triple G, and Canelo Alvarez will have to drop that belt at that time. So it looks like here that Canelo Alvarez is still stuck between Sergey Kovalev and Sergey Derevyanchenko as to who he's going to decide. But there's going to be clarity to this situation on Monday at that deadline, because either Canelo Alvarez will have a deal with Sergey Derevyanchenko, or he will be waiting on Sergey Kovalev for late in the year. So this will provide us a lot of clarity of what's going to happen with Saul Canelo Alvarez. But let's just keep it going. According to BoxingScene.com, Kubrat Pulev files a petition with the IBF to order the mandatory spot with Andy Ruiz. So this is a very interesting thing, and this is according, because Bob Arum, Kubrat Pulev is with Top Rank. And, Bob Arum believes that Andy Ruiz Jr. is obligated to face Kubrat Pulev next and not Anthony Joshua. So they believe that Kubrat Pulev should be facing Andy Ruiz Jr. next and not Anthony Joshua. They believe he's the mandatory. He's been waiting on Anthony Joshua since 2017. He got injured. And then Anthony Joshua fought Carlos Takam in his place. Kubrat Pulev has been waiting on this opportunity. This is just a direct quote from Bob Arum. Bob Arum states, "We've been waiting patiently. The time is now." He also states Andy Ruiz has an obligation to fight the number one mandatory IBF contender, Kubrat Pulev. And you know what? It's semi-true to a degree because, at the end of the day, the IBF is notorious for sticking by their word. And it's going to be very interesting to see what they decide. If they, there's a number of decisions that can be made. One decision is the IBF could force or mandate that fight right now. So that means Andy Ruiz and Kubrat Pulev would have to face each other, or Andy Ruiz would have to risk dropping a belt. Another scenario is, if Eddie Hearn would allow that, then that fight could happen. If Eddie Hearn would dispute that, maybe there's an exception given by the IBF so that Andy Ruiz can face Anthony Joshua. It all depends on their decision. If Andy Ruiz doesn't face, Kubrat Pulev and loses the belt, would Eddie Hearn still force that rematch right away, even though that belt is lost? See, there's a lot of things at play here, and we'll have to see what the IBF decides. But let's just keep it going. According to BoxingScene.com as well, Deontay Wilder, he believes that Anthony Joshua quit against Andy Ruiz Jr. And this is a direct quote. He says, "In my opinion, Joshua quit. As a fighter looking in, reading the body language, he quit. I'm sad to say he quit. I don't think he's a quitter, but he quit that night." And let's be honest and unbiased, Anthony Joshua didn't quit. Anthony Joshua got knocked down 4 times, got up 4 times, and even when he got knocked down the last time and got up, he still got up. He still motioned to the ref, "Yes, I want to continue." He was ready to go. At the end of the day, he didn't look good. He didn't know where he was. He looked severely concussed. Andy Ruiz pretty much had put it on Anthony Joshua that fight, so Anthony Joshua didn't really have a good grasp on where he was, but there was no signs that he quit. He was obviously dazed and confused from the hits and the punishment that he was taking against Andy Ruiz. So you give Andy Ruiz the credit for beating up Anthony Joshua to that point, but you don't say he quit, because there was no quit in that fight. Let's just keep it going. According to BoxingScene.com as well, Kenny Porter states that Errol Spence Jr. is out of shape. Sean Porter's been training 8 weeks. And, I do believe Errol Spence Jr. could be out of shape, but to some degree, he does look a little bit bigger. He's notorious for eating bad. He's even stated, Errol Spence Jr. stated out his own mouth that he has to lose over 20 plus pounds to make weight each and every time. He always eats very bad. He balloons up. And he's basically almost 30 years old. So he's going to get to the point where he cannot make the weight. And there's been some rumblings that he's already been struggling with weight. And a lot of people and fanboys always come out and say, well, Errol Spence Jr. hasn't had any problems making weight. You don't know that. Just because he hasn't shown those issues on the scale doesn't mean they're not there. He's an enormous welterweight, and he really has to drain himself down. But at the end of the day, Errol Spence Jr. is a consummate pro about making weight, so we give him the credit of it. But we know at this age, at this point in his life and his career, that it is a point that he's going to struggle with weight, because history has shown us that Errol Spence Jr. looks large now, and when he finally made weight for the Mikey Garcia fight, he looked like literally a totally different person from when he started camp to when he finished. Errol Spence Jr. is not the type of fighter that's going to stay in shape the entire course of the year. He's not a Terrence Crawford. He's not a Vasily Lomachenko. He's not this level of fighter who does that. He's not a Floyd Mayweather. See, the best of the best fighters stay in shape throughout the year. And I do believe that type of regimen will eventually catch up with Errol Spence Jr. because the older you get, the harder it gets to make weight. But at the same time, you can't let yourself go in between camps, and then you have to drain and lose all this weight. You have to work your way back in shape. So because if you spend the vast majority of getting yourself in shape, you're not spending the vast majority of your time polishing your skills, learning new skills, improving on your skills, developing your skills. And so instead of focusing on his skills, he's focusing on losing weight between camps. And that's the difference between an Errol Spence Jr. and a Terrence Bud Crawford. And that's why so many people look at Terrence Crawford as the favorite to beat Spence, because not only does he have the skill set, not only is he a pound for pound fighter, not only is he a former undisputed fighter, but at the same time, he stays in shape. He's a consummate pro. He doesn't balloon to outrageous weights. And Errol Spence Jr. does, balloon up and have these issues. So when you look at it, you have to be honest and unbiased. But once again, it's the IBFP's Boxing News. Please share, like, and you must absolutely subscribe.